Hi guys, it's Roxy. As someone who enjoys hiking but isn't that confident in the wilderness, I wanted to share these 4 Yellowstone trails with you that offered us a chance to immerse ourselves in Yellowstone's natural beauty and away from most of the crowds without venturing too far off the beaten path.
Our first trail is to Fairy Falls, and it is a 200-foot wispy cliffside waterfall. This trail starts in its own Fairy Falls parking lot, and every time we've been here, it has been so full. But I think the majority of the people are going to the Grand Prismatic Overlook, which is a short but steep 0.2 of a mile hike off of the Fairy Falls Trail to a viewing platform of the Grand Prismatic Spring. And it's usually really crowded, but definitely worth the detour. And then from the platform, you can continue the loop back onto the Fairy Falls Trail. So back to the Fairy Falls Trail, it's a 4.8 mile out and back, but you can ride a bike the first mile of it on the old gravelly freight road. Then you park at the bike rack and walk the rest of the way to the falls on an easy dirt trail. I'm a drowned rat. We did go during a brief drizzle, so I don't know if that made a difference, but we had the entire trail and the waterfall all to ourselves. This was one of those perfect spots where you could just sit and relax. But then again, if you're a busy bee like me, you could also go a half a mile further down the trail and see the Spray and Imperial geysers. I didn't know about it at the time, so we missed them, but next time we go, we're definitely checking them out. Next is Lone Star Geyser, and I really like this geyser because of the dramatic show it puts on. The trail for Lone Star leaves out of the Kepler Falls parking lot, and it's an easy 5 mile out and back on an old service road. You can also ride a bike all the way to the entrance area of the geyser, making it a really easy trip. If you didn't bring your own bike, there are rentals available in all the gateway towns just outside of the park. And the reason why I know this is because Matt's bike broke on this trail and we had to leave it on the side and come back for it later. And the poor guy had to run all the way to the geyser while I biked, so we could make it in time. So taking that into account, it took us about 45 minutes to get from the parking lot to the geyser.
I hope we make it in time.
Here's where it gets a little tricky. Timing is really important for this hike or bike. Lone Star erupts around every 3 hours, so check the geyser times to get the best estimated eruption time, and I will put a link in the description of the site that I typically use. I actually think that this trail has the prettiest scenery out of all 4 trails on this list. We weren't the only ones here, but there was probably less than 15 people including us, and it was a really nice small group to share this experience with.
That's it. There's people here, so it must not have gone off yet.
They do have an eruption log at the geyser, but by then it's kind of too late. You're already committed. So it'd be nice if they also had one at the beginning of the trail before starting the hike. But if you do time it right, you're rewarded with a 12-foot cone shooting water 45 feet in the air for about 30 minutes. and it ends with a roar of steam. It's hard to choose favorites in Yellowstone, but this might be my favorite geyser. This next trail is to Mystic Falls, and this is a very beautiful 70-foot cascading waterfall. The trail starts in the back of the Biscuit Basin Boardwalk area. Try to say that 3 times fast. It takes you on a tree-lined path that can be done in either a 3.4-mile loop or a 2.4-mile out and back, which is what we did, and it took us a little over 20 minutes to get to the falls.
Okay, don't mind us bears.
We didn't run into anyone on the trail, but there were a handful of people scattered around the outskirts of the falls, but it still felt pretty magical. Last on the list is Natural Bridge, and it's not quite as impressive as the other locations on the list, but it is a unique feature for this park, and it's definitely not crowded. There are 2 starting points for this trail. One is in the parking lot of the Bay Bridge Marina, and it is a 3.1 mile out and back. Or there's a bike trail just south of the marina off of the Grand Loop Road. It's an easy 2.5 mile out and back. And when I say bike trail, I just mean that it's designated for bike use. It's really just an old, crumbly road that you could easily walk on. And this trail only took us 8 minutes to ride from the entrance to the Natural Bridge. Natural Bridge is 51 feet high and 30 feet across, and it was formed by the Bridge Creek cutting through the rock over time. There is a trail that goes up and around the Natural Bridge. We didn't walk it because we could hear something up there and we're scaredy cats, but I think if you did, it would make this stop a little more interesting.
There's definitely other trails out there that will get you away from the crowds, but if you just want to explore without getting too far from the tourist areas, I think that these are a good place to start. And I hope you have a great time in Yellowstone. Dangerous. I'm out of control. Stay out of the groove. Whoa, I'm a crazy person. Oh.
I'll go first.
Okay. Oh, you're gonna go through the mud? You're crazy. Oh my gosh. Oh. I'm not gonna sink.
No, I don't think so.
Oh, but I'm gonna get muddy. Okay, here I go. I hope I don't fall. I did it. Whew. I wasn't so sure. I'm extremely tired. Thank goodness we're biking and not walking. It's all fun and games until Matt's bike breaks. And then it's going to be a very long hike.